So this week I'm going to be reading Planet Omar, Accidental Trouble Magnet by Zanib Mian. Chapter 1. Ka-choo! There was a big puddle of spit on my little brother's forehead. It was mine. But phew, he was still sleeping. Let me tell you what happened. I'd been in my bed, attempting to have a good night's sleep, when suddenly I was being chased through the playground by a teacher who had green slime oozing out of his ears and slugs for fingernails. It was a dream. A bad dream, of course. When I woke up, I was extremely and very happy that I wasn't about to be a monster's dinner. I breathed slowly to get my heartbeat back to normal, instead of like it was on a trampoline. I remembered that my mum had told me to spit towards my shoulder 3 times if I have a nightmare. That's supposed to get rid of the shaitan, who is the ugly head who causes bad dreams. I really wanted to get rid of shaitan, so I conjured up a bucket full of spit in my mouth and shot it out over my left shoulder. That'll teach him. I just hoped it would dry before morning, so nobody would know I'd spat on my little brother by accident. I put my head back on the pillow for an eighth of a second, but then I heard a really loud and really annoying sound. Wah! See? Very loud and very annoying. It was Issa. I guess he noticed the spitball after all and wasn't impressed. Mum appeared at the door to our room in her pyjamas, looking all bleary-eyed. She said, "What's the matter, Issa?" Issa was still busy waiting, so I said, "Spitball." "Not again, Omar." Wah! I covered my head with the pillow. Then Dad came in saying that it would be nice if we could have at least one night in the week where poor Issa isn't woken up by my shenanigans. I asked him what that means for the billionth time. He rolled his eyes for the billionth time. I heard my big sister Mariam growling in her room. She definitely doesn't like mornings very much. Mum said it was almost Fajr time anyway. I wondered if Allah was going to give me a reward for waking them up for Fajr. Fajr is the dawn prayer. Dur is the noon prayer. Asr is the afternoon prayer. Maghrib is the sunset prayer. And Isha is the night prayer. Chapter 2. The reason I'd been having bad dreams, especially bad dreams about teachers, was because I was going to be starting a new school. This made me feel like there were snakes in my tummy, and some of them were sneaking up and squeezing my heart. I don't like things to change. It would be so much more convenient and better for everyone if things always just stayed the same. Take my pyjamas, for example. They are utterly comfortable pyjamas which have somehow moulded their shape to my body and become my second skin. A weird second skin that I can put on and take off, like some kind of cool human lizard. My mum tried to throw them away and make me wear crispy pyjamas that don't even have dinosaurs on them. This is change. It's super annoying. One big, fat, huge change had already happened to me. We had to move house, which is the reason I had to start a new school. All this happened because Mum got her dream job. When she told me, I couldn't help wondering what she meant exactly by dream job. Did it mean that adults have super boring dreams all about jobs? If that was true, I wasn't looking forward to being an adult, because at the moment I dream about fun stuff, like being on a roller coaster that turns into a flying pig. Sometimes they're even better than movies. Well, apart from the scary ones that make me feel really lucky when I wake up and realise they're not for real. So, anyway, the job that Mum must have dreamt about all the time was too far from where we lived before, so we had to move. The moving bit was very, very times 100 annoying, because Dad said I couldn't put all of the 1,267 bits and bobs and toys from my room in the boxes to take to the new house. He didn't actually count my things, but he likes to say exact numbers when he's talking so that he can sound smart. He said I had to choose the ones I love most and give the rest to charity. Why didn't he understand that I loved them all? But then he said he would be very proud of me if I could choose, because I would have done better than Mum, who'd already packed lots of what Dad called boxes of hoarded goods. I like Dad being proud of me, especially because it normally means pain au chocolat for breakfast, so I chose 56 bits and bobs to take with me. I counted them really carefully so I could be so precise when Dad asked, and also make sure that nobody sneakily threw anything away without me noticing. The good news was that the new house was super, super cool. When I first saw it, Mariam and I ran straight into the garden and whooped because it was at least twice the size of our old one. We planned out where we could put a football net and Issa's climbing frame, and Mariam did loads of cartwheels to prove just how massive it was. That was the first time we saw the little old lady who lives next door. She peeped over her fence and said, and then she put her nose higher in the air as if she was smelling something there that she didn't like. Chapter 3. School was going to start on Monday. Only 2 more sleeps before I had to walk into a brand new classroom with everyone watching and a teacher who might or might not be an alien zombie. Saturday is always mosque day. My mum had decided that for the first few weeks after moving, we would visit a different mosque every Saturday and pray duhur there to see what our new neighbourhood was like. Dad normally works on Saturdays, so it was just me, Mariam, Issa and Mum. My mum is a very smart scientist who works out all sorts of different ways of fighting cancer for the cancer research people. But sometimes Issa's cuteness makes her lose her smartness. It's like he has big, innocent, smartness melting eyes. They don't work on me. So when Issa wanted to buy a whistle from the petrol station on the way to the mosque, I knew it wasn't a good idea. But Mum went right ahead and bought it for him, saying, "Because you've been such a good boy this morning," and giving him a gooey kiss on the top of his head. I knew it was gooey because she actually still kisses me like that, even though I've forbidden her to do it in front of my friends. In the mosque, everyone prays together with the imam leading. It's supposed to be super quiet. Just after prayer began, Issa decided to move from his place. I was praying in between Mum and Mariam. Neither of them moved. I wasn't sure if they'd even noticed that he'd got up. Now, Issa is annoying sometimes, but he is my little brother, and I worry about him, so I quickly sneaked to look behind us. He was sitting at the back, with a big cheeky grin on his face. I turned back around and carried on praying. Then we went into ruku. That's when your hands are on your knees. Silence from Issa. Then we went to sujood. That's when your nose and forehead are on the ground. And then, twee! The loud noise of a whistle broke through the silence, followed by Issa's voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then again, twee! And then the counting. It wouldn't stop. I couldn't help myself. How could I? I burst out laughing. Right in the middle of my prayer. I put my hand over my mouth. I bit my tongue and I even pinched myself really hard, but I couldn't help it. I didn't have to wonder if Mum had heard. People on all floors of the mosque must have heard. When the prayer finished, Mum and Mariam were a bright shade of pink. It looked as if their skin had suddenly decided to compete with Mariam's socks for pinkness. And they were looking everywhere, except up at people's faces like they usually do when they greet people after prayers. Mum was motioning angrily to Issa to come to her. Luckily, a few people came and patted Issa's head, which made Mum's skin return to its normal colour. As we were leaving, an old lady with a walking stick and a brown abaya waddled over and said, "Good counting, young man."